Hello, welcome. It's Francis here. Thank you for coming back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I bid thee welcome. There is a subscribe button below if you would like to help support my channel by subscribing. Also a bell to be notified as to when I upload more content. I'm coming to you from Ghana country, and as such, I acknowledge the Ghana people of the Adelaide Plains as being the traditional custodians of this land. So we have a new moon that will be new on Tuesday, the 21st of October. So that's only a few days away. And here in Adelaide, South Australia, it will be taking place around about 10:55 p.m. And it will be right at the end of Libra season at 28 degrees, 21 minutes of Libra. So if you have a copy of your birth or natal chart, there are plenty of free resources on the internet. I might even link one or two below for you to have a look at. If you know your time, place, and date of birth. Look to see where 28 degrees, 21 minutes falls, and in particular, what house, because this will be the area of your life that this new moon, will sort of be impacting upon, will be shining a light upon, really our new beginnings. And also see if you've got any planets in points that may also be activated. Now, that's not essential. It's more in relation to the actual house. Because this whole area, as I said, in your life, could very well be going through a little bit of a change, or will be. When we have a new moon, this is when the sun and the moon are directly next door to each other, so it's called conjunct. And as such, this means that the sky is at its darkest. Therefore, it is like an initiation process, moving from the darkness into the light. New moons also initiate or indicate a start of something new, that something's about to begin. It's a beginning point, and this sort of adds weight to people today getting on the sort of manifestation or planting seeds for the manifestation of what they're wanting to emerge within the lunar cycle, or how I operate when the full moon is in Libra, which is usually in about 6 months' time, to see what will emerge from then. And why it's interesting to, or I won't say essential, but why it's interesting to look at your natal chart is to see, or to focus on that area in your life where the house is related to, and also connecting in with the Libra energy. Now, Libra energy is about seeking emotional security. It's about balance and harmony, because its symbol is the scales. And in particular, it is focused on relationships, our interactions with other people. So this could be personal relationships, intimate relationships, it could be family relationships, it could be relationships with work colleagues, friendships, so that wider circles. Also, our relationships as a collective amongst ourselves, and areas too in these relationships where maybe we need to act with a little bit more diplomacy than what we have in the past. However, in order to bring about all these new beginnings, there must be endings, there must be closures. And this is so we can allow space for these new energetics that we're wanting to manifest at the new moon to come into our lives. So there could very well be sudden developments as well. So as I say, often in these videos, breathe, surrender, let go. We hang on to so much stuff that no longer serves us, that's outdated. And a lot of it's due to fear of the unknown. But we need to sort of like change our focus and look at the potential of what can come into our lives, especially if we're dissatisfied with what we have. So it's the letting go and the sort of looking forward as opposed to looking back. Coming back to this new moon, the planetary ruler of Libra is Venus, and Venus is in Libra at 9 degrees 29 minutes, and it's what astrologers call unaspected, meaning that it's not in direct connection or communication with any other planet. It's not trining, it's not conjunct, it's not squaring, etc. So it's on its own. And Venus in Libra is how we share ourselves with others, in particular our relationships, how we show up, our role that we play. So it's a little bit of a deep dive, especially after Venus has had interactions with outer planets. It's been conjunct with Neptune and also the North Node, which is our future directions, back in February this year. It was conjunct with Uranus early July this year. And more recently, back in August, towards the end of August, it was opposite Pluto, which is retrograde. So what has been sort of like rising up to the surface, what knowledge has been gained or insights has been gained due to these transits of Venus in your own life in relation to relationships, how you interact in the world, in your peer groups, in your family groups, in your intimate circles. How are you showing up? Are you authentic? I know this is a word that gets beaten around the bush a lot. Are you in touch with your true self? Are you operating from the heart, from the soul, or are you operating from ego? And again, it's asking us to do a little bit of a deep dive, a little bit of self-reflection in order to move forward. And one of the astrologers that I do follow, that I will link to below, because the astrologers, they're professionals, I'm not, for these videos, is Molly McCord. And she indicates in her video about the new moon is that at this particular new moon, it's all about balancing what we have learned due to these Venus transits, and also bring through this knowledge of balancement in readiness for the upcoming T-square that Venus will move into with Chiron, the asteroid, the wounded healer. What we're learning from processing our wounds. Are we learning anything? Are we putting that into right action? And also Jupiter. Now, Jupiter is the planet of expansion. So it's going to be expanding things, the lessons that we have learned. Again, giving us this opportunity to really sort of step up and work, and I'll say the words again, right action, so that implement, integrate, show the world that we walk our talk, and that is authentic, at least in my opinion. So this T-square will be happening in November, so we still have a month to sort of get our ducks lined up in a row and really prepare ourselves to move forward. So at this new moon, we've got Chiron. We're talking about Chiron and Jupiter. Chiron is at 24 degrees 41 minutes of Aries. It's retrograde. And Jupiter is in Cancer at 24 degrees 25 minutes. So these two planets are squaring each other and will continue to do so until January next year. So Chiron is about gaining a deeper self-awareness of what you want in relation to your self-identity, Aries, providing you with basically with the courage to be who you truly are. Because again, it's the wounded healer, it's going through the wounds of around our own self-identity and moving through with that knowledge gain. So we're healing the wounds that may have even been created back in our childhood. Maybe we've been shaped, conditioned to believe that we can only achieve a certain thing, have a certain outcome in our lives. Our inspirations, how we move forward in the life has been shaped. And I'm not casting any blame over society or our parental upbringing, but sometimes when we sort of gain a little bit more independence and insight as adults, we can look back and say, hey, that's, say, walking someone else's dream or aspirations. That's not what I want to do. So Chiron is asking us to really look at our self-identity. Do we vote the same way as our parents do? Because we always do. Do we wear certain clothes? Do we drive certain cars? Do we barrack for certain sports teams purely because our parents or our society, our peer groups always have? It's just like, what do you want to do? And what needs to be healed? What are the imprints, basically, of our childhood, our cultural, parental, societal upbringings, and how do they resonate with you today? And working through that and then emerging. It's all about self-identity. Who are we really? As such, there could also be a bit of a pressure point around relationships, partnerships, both personally and professionally, as this new moon is actually asking us to tap into that wisdom gained, our wisdom of the feelings, listening to our body as opposed to our head, and especially what has risen up over the last month, this awareness of what belongs to you, what doesn't belong to you, and maybe what we are still carrying that does not belong to us. It's now the time to release all those unwanted emotions, or even consider whether we need to react in certain ways, emotion. The sun and moon are what's called an out of sign square with Pluto. Pluto is at 0 degrees 22 minutes of Aquarius. This means that it's sort of outside the 2 to 3 degree points that squares and transits usually relate to. So it's just out of that, but we've still got the energetics of it. And this could actually bring up issues around power, self-power areas. Expressing either an external expression or expression. So what's happening externally, there could be shifts happening there. Pam Gregory, who's another astrologer that I follow, links below, she has long talked about Aquarius being sort of like the shift, especially when Pluto moved from Capricorn, which is sort of hierarchical power for corporations or the control, the external power, to Aquarius, which is more about people power. So there could be sort of a shift around the energetics there. We also have Neptune at what's known as the creator point. So it's just 0 degrees 1 minute of Aries. It's actually more recently stationed retrograde. So it's sort of like a big ocean line. It's sort of slowed down to turn. And so it's retrograde at the moment. And this 0 degree point of Aries is known, as I said, as the creator degree point. So that's at the beginning of the whole zodiac wheel. And the day after, because Pluto's sort of going retrograde, day after this new moon, on the 22nd of October, it will actually be in the anaretically end degree of Pisces. So it'll be at 29 degrees, 59 minutes of Pisces. And it'll actually stay at that anaretic degree point until the end of January next year, where it stations direct and then moves back through Aries once again, creating that creator point. So it's moving, it's sort of like, again, influencing this new moon, all these sort of insights into or energies into new beginnings, but reminding us too, as I said earlier, about the letting go, the needing to release. And with it moving back into Pisces, a lot of this is deep stuff. So this is at the end of the zodiacal wheel. It's deep stuff, probably I was going to say traumatic, but yeah, it could be traumatic wounds, almost generational stuff as well. Things that are really deep beneath the surface. And again, as I said, it could be stuff that came up in our childhood that we're still carrying. Could be stuff that's been passed down to us as well. But there's going to be an awareness, and we're giving this opportunity again to release, to surrender all these old wounds, these old patterns, before Neptune moves back over that creator point in January next year. We also have what's known as a Water Grand Trine at this new moon. So we've got Mars and Mercury conjunct right next to or to each other at 20 degrees of Scorpio. We have, excuse me, Saturn at 26 degrees, 20 minutes of Pisces, and Jupiter, as I mentioned before, at 24 degrees, 25 minutes of Cancer. And this will sort of help move, transmute, even purge all the emotions that we are ready to release. Things that we've been holding on to that maybe up to now we haven't really had that nudge, that encouragement to let go and surrender. And yes, this is the new moon to do that, especially with this Water Grand Trine. It could indicate something that's a permanent shift, with Saturn being in Pisces, again, sort of closing out 30 years, because it stays in each sign for 30 years, worth of energies, worth of experience and lessons and responsibilities that have come up to the forefront. And again, we realize we've done that. We don't need to hang on to that anymore. So there could also be almost like an emotional anchor for what we are now committing ourselves to or wanting to transform. So again, big breath. Really sort of take that self-empowerment, that energy around the self-identity that Chiron's been trying to show us, asking us to reclaim, and let go again what is not serving us, allowing space for the new to come in. But it is really, honestly, it is really time for us to move forward as opposed to looking back and repeating the same cycles over and over again. And I'm not just talking consciously or collectively, out in the collective conscious and global events. We are seeing this so often as the old order is hanging on with the grips. It's time for each and every one of us as individuals to go, where do we want, or seriously think, where do we want to go? The direction we want to head into. How do we want to authentically step up into the world and be our true self? So that's a little bit of a rundown in relation to this upcoming new moon. Any comments, queries, questions, please put them in the chat below. I do go back through the chat. And don't forget to check out Pam Gregory, astrologer, and also Molly McFord's videos. I said they are the professionals. I am not. And I've got the links below. Blessings.